objections from the Police and Environmental Health to a proposed 10 for flat 1, 12, Cambridge Gardens, London, W10 5UB. I'm Councillor Laura Burns and I will be chairing this meeting. I confirm I have no declarations to make in relation to this item. I'm joined by Councillor Lucy Knight and Toby Benton. Councillors, can you please introduce yourself and confirm whether or not you have any declarations to make?
Hi, I'm Councillor Lucy Knight and I have no declarations to make.
I'm Councillor Toby Benton and no declarations of interest.
Thank you. We are also joined by Dave Williams from the Council's licensing team, our legal advisor Horatio Chance, our committee officers Tommy Hamner and Yusuf Olo, and Toyin Shobowale. Pardon? Did someone say something? No? Okay, never mind. I was like, what? All right. And so now we're going to elect the election of substitute chair. The quorum of this committee is 2, as there's always a possibility.
Sorry to interrupt. Can I just ask something? Because you said something about it being live streamed, which I wasn't aware of. So can you just explain to me what you mean? Was it beyond this meeting? Is this like live streamed somewhere?
It's being streamed on the internet live, so anyone can.
Right, okay. I'm going to take my camera off for my own privacy then, if that's okay. But I'll.
Yes, of course.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, yeah. All right, so the quorum of this committee is 2, as there's always a possibility that I may lose connection temporarily during the broadcast. I am nominating Councillor Benton to be appointed as substitute chair. Members, please confirm whether this nomination is seconded. Lucy Knight?
Yes, seconded. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Knight seconds the nomination. Thank you very much indeed. I confirm that Councillor Benton has been appointed substitute chair. Thank you, colleagues. Now some ground rules. Before we start the hearing, there are a few ground rules. Please keep your microphones on mute until you are invited to speak. Please make sure mobile phones are on silent. Please do not use Microsoft Teams chat function as it's not monitored. Everyone should have received the procedure for this meeting regarding the use of cameras and how to connect back if you lose connection. Thank you. So parties in attendance. Tommy Hamner, can you please run through the list of persons wishing to speak today?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. So today speaking, we have Elizabeth Arieti, who is the applicant who's registered to speak. And from the responsible authorities, we have Philip Richardson from the Council's Noise and Nuisance team, PC Donna Wilcox from the Metropolitan Police Service, and James Rankin, who is the counsel for the Metropolitan Police Service.
Okay, thank you. The procedure of the meeting has been circulated with the papers. However, in summary, I'll confirm. Firstly, the licensing officer, Dave Williams, will give a brief outline of the 10. Then I will ask the premises user, Miss Elizabeth Arieti, to present her submission. She will have up to 10 minutes to do so. Questions may then be asked of the premises user by the committee, the police, environmental health, and our legal advisor. Then I will ask Mr. James Rankin, counsel for the police, to present his objection. He will have up to a maximum of 10 minutes to do so. He is joined by PC Donna Wilcox, who may be able to assist the committee if they have any questions. Questions may then be asked by the police, by the committee, the premises user and our legal advisor. Then I will ask Philip Richardson for environmental health to present his objection. He will have up to a maximum of 10 minutes to do so. Questions may then be asked of environmental health by the committee, the premises user and our legal advisor. Finally, I will turn to the governance team to see if any issues have been raised that we need to consider. There will be no summing up and the committee will adjourn for 10 minutes to make our decision. We will reconvene verbally to announce the decision today, and it will then be confirmed in writing within 5 working days. The full reasoned decision will be issued as soon as possible thereafter. I would like to remind everyone that the committee has read the papers, which comprise of the main pack. There's also no need to repeat their content, but please do draw attention to certain points and pages. Let's go. Dave Williams, please can you outline the 10 for us?
Thank you, Chair. We have before us today a temporary event notice which has received objections from PC Mark Perry on behalf of the Metropolitan Police on the grounds of prevention of crime and disorder and public safety. And an objection has also been received from Mr Julian Trill from Environmental Health on the grounds of the prevention of public nuisance and public safety. Ms Elizabeth Areli has submitted a temporary event notice for Sunday the 24th and Monday the 25th of August 2025 to use a forecourt area of 12 Cambridge Gardens for the sale by retail of alcohol on and off the premises during Notting Hill Carnival. A copy of the 10 and event management plan including event risk assessment can be found at Appendix A of today's bundle. Summaries of the objections can be found at pages 6 and 7 of today's bundle, and copies of both objections are attached to Appendix B and Appendix C. Relevant extracts from the Council Statement of Licensing Policy are attached as Appendix D. The premises are located in Goulburn Ward on the north side of Cambridge Gardens, close to its junction with Portobello Road, and a map of the area is attached as Appendix E, and a list of licensed premises within the vicinity is attached as Appendix F. A map of the 2024 Carnival footprint indicating the parade route, location of sound systems, bars, street trading sites, safe areas and other matters is attached as Appendix G. For clarity, Chair, this map is for illustrative purposes only, as the map for 2025 is yet to be finalised. A list of temporary event notices received so far for this year's Carnival is attached as Appendix H. This list excludes notices which have been withdrawn or issued with a counter notice. Some of these notices may still be under consultation. I'm not aware of any additional documents that have been circulated, and in determining this matter, the committee must have regard to the objection notices from the police and environmental health and take such of the following steps as it considers necessary for the promotion of the licensing objectives. The steps are: issue a counter notice if it considers it necessary for the promotion of any of the licensing objectives to do so, or take no action and allow the notice to have effect. This concludes my summary for the morning's proceedings. Chair, thank you.
Thank you. Now for the premises users case. Ms Elizabeth Areti, please can you present your submission and advise if there's been any additional documentation sent to the council. You have 10 minutes to do so. Thank you.
Thank you. So I haven't actually sent in any additional documents because my understanding when I spoke to the police officer, I think it was Mark, was that this decision had already been made by a committee. So I only actually became aware of this hearing when I got the email a few days ago. So I'm kind of going into this a little bit blind, but I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the premises, what I do and how things have been in the past, if that's okay. So I do note that he'd sent in some photographs of sort of like Portobello Road. I mean, it's a very old picture taken 10 years ago, and I think that Portobello Road is now managed a bit differently. And in addition, that's not an area that's particularly close to my house. That's sort of more to the junction of Lancaster Road. And again, the photos that are taken of the sound system on the road are quite old photos. And the sound system undoubtedly has a large crowd, a large following, but I would like to say that my mum, who is now in her 80s, manages to walk through that crowd back and forth to watch the carnival route. So when you take a photograph from ground level of a crowd, it's a very different view to if you took an aerial shot. I mean, if you look at the pictures of Portobello Road, you'll see that there's people eating food and just strolling. It's not as bad as it looks, you know, from that perspective. And that quite often, most of the time, outside my flat, there are people who have bought food from the stalls that are opposite, and they come across the road, they get their drinks, and then they look for a place to sit down, which is usually, you know, along the gutters of Cambridge Gardens, and they eat their food. It's not a congested area. My application does say, you know, 499 people. And in the past, I had set that at about 15. And I think someone from licensing had said, just set it at 499, just in case you have more people than that. But we generally don't have a large crowd. People come, they get their drinks, and they go off and, you know, eat their food or go off to see the carnival. So we're very sort of free flowing, not congested. I'm aware also that there was mention of an event taking part place in the park opposite. So when events have taken place in the park, they actually block the entrance to Cambridge Gardens and put up some high fencing, and people enter that through Thorpe Close. So any crowd that's in the park shouldn't really have an impact on Cambridge Gardens, because they don't usually have access to Cambridge Gardens unless they were to come out on the other side and walk all the way around. The other thing I was going to say is that as residents, we have to have something outside our homes to ensure that they're not used as public toilets, although there are public toilets in very close proximity. So my worry is that not just for me, but with the declining of so many temporary event notices this year, that's going to lead to more people barbecuing and open fires. And that's where, before, people were getting temporary event notices to sell alcohol, we saw gazebos set on fire. It just seemed a lot more hazardous. Alcohol will be sold at Carnival. It used to be that people would walk around selling it illegally in kind of shopping trolleys and things like that on the Carnival route, and I believe that that leads to higher levels of crime. I don't think that there is any evidence to show that the places where a temporary event notice have been granted have then had a spike in criminal activity. And the reason I say that is because I've not generally seen any criminal activity as a stall holder. So although I appreciate the comments in both the submissions from the police and from the environmental health, they're speculative. Whereas we've been doing this outside the house for many years without event. And at different times during Carnival, we have closed down the stall to help somebody that was in need, or maybe somebody that had passed out, or, you know, for whatever reason. So although I didn't explicitly mention that if the queue became too big and unmanageable, I would close down the stall, I thought it was kind of implied in the fact that I did say that public safety and that of my family who are there is always at the centre of what we do. So we're not just going to keep trading if it looks like it's dangerous. But there are so many scenarios that I can't mention in my submission, you know, of why the stall might be closed down if we needed to. So, yeah, and again, like I mentioned, the events that take place across the road, I don't think would impact this. And I did receive a letter that said, in addition, that all the stalls on the Carnival route have now been taken off that route, and my concern with that is that that will bring extra traffic into the side roads, because people who come to Carnival would reasonably expect that they can hydrate themselves on the Carnival route, and I do wonder what's going to happen now if they're going to be pushed into the side roads. So I feel that the speculation about what may happen, you know, with people getting temporary event notices is exactly that. It's speculation, and it's not based on statistics of particular temporary event notices for residents or whoever in the past. It's just based on, when I spoke to the police officer, he said, oh, I think you might have a large queue and then someone might tread on someone else's foot and a fight breaks out. That's just never happened by us so far. So yeah, I don't really know what to say more than that. I'm not very prepared, a lot of waffle, but I'm open to any questions.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, so there will be questions.
Okay.
Any questions from the committee, first of all? Councillor Lucy Knight.
Hi, thank you so much for that. I'm just, only because I'm just trying to, I don't think there was I've been on Google Maps, but so does you're in the building which essentially has an entrance that's communal, and is that where exactly you're operating, just to talk through how the setup works?
Yes, so there's an entrance that's communal, and ahead of that entrance, after a Carnival night, one night, we asked for a gate to be put up in front of that entrance. So we will be in front of the gate, but behind the gate to the pavement, if that makes sense. We've got two gates.
I can
so
see it now.
so it's in that area, and we literally just hand the drinks over to people over the gate, which is why in the past I had put it on a sale on the premises, and someone said, no, you should do it a sale on and off the premises. But we're not actually outside the gate, we're inside the gate, just selling over.
Sort of squared, where the two entrances,
just to the one side, because the other side we leave closed off, but with access in case it should be needed.
Okay. And generally, how many people at a time are you usually dealing with?
4 or 5, maybe. I'd put on there that we never have more than 15. I would say we don't really have more than about 8 people usually. And the reason being is across the road is all food stalls, and people can they're standing around, they're eating their food, and they can kind of look around and see when they're free to walk up to the gate. So yeah, generally there's not many people there. Since they got rid of the Radio 1 stage, which used to be across the road, in the 90s, it's really quite free-flowing traffic. Like I said, people are sitting in the gutter kind of eating their food.
Yeah. And then how many, sorry if you did write this within your submission, but how many years have you operated for?
Well, from the time I moved in, basically we had to do something to just block the gate. So it used to be food and things like that, but actually it's time consuming, it's hard work. And then somebody from the council that came round and did the inspection said, do you know, you can get a temporary event notice. And at that point I'd gotten the temporary event notice, and I must have done that for maybe, I don't know, 15, 20 years or more. Yeah.
Okay, that's really helpful. Thank you so much.
It's okay.
Thank you. Councillor Toby Benton, any questions?
No questions for the applicant, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, I just want some, I have a couple of questions. Just one is, in your submission, it said you serve food from 10 a.m, but you just said that now you don't, or you do. I just would like to know.
Yes, no, sorry. The reason I put that in there is sometimes we've thought, oh, let's just do some hot dogs or something like that. But actually, it's just the drinks really, because all of the stalls that are opposite us are food. And what we've noticed over time is, you know, they pay a lot for their stalls, and I don't think they have the space to fill it with drinks. So often the food stalls don't have drinks. So we then meet that market, because we realise that selling hot dogs and stuff like that just isn't really appealing when someone's got a lovely pad thai across the road, you know. So the drinks we couldn't compete with the level of deliciousness that was opposite. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. And then also, could you just give me a bit more understanding of how it works? Obviously, I googled it too, so we saw the gate. There's a gate at the front. Is that door open? That gate door open, or
right?
Or so how do you see people?
So when you see the front of the property, you'll see that there's one double gate and one single gate, because there's a massive tree. So the double gate is the one that's blocked off, and we'll have like a table pushed up against that gate so that nobody enters. And the single gate is the gate that's for access for residents or anybody, you know, with an emergency or whatever, but we keep it closed, and generally somebody sits by that gate just to make sure that people don't just come in, because that's the main issue, is people coming in. And then underneath the table that we have pushed up at the gate, we might have an old fridge freezer or something that's lying on its back and is being used as a cool box. So that'll be full of ice and, you know, the drinks. And then maybe to the side there'll be a table or and a gazebo. Sometimes we'll have a gazebo over, and yeah, and that's pretty much it really. It's just the stuff, because it's drinks. When it was food, it used to be a lot more involved, but since the gate behind us has gone in, I don't think it's feasible to do food now. It's a bit too cramped. So when you're coming into the building, you'd come into the gate as you look at the building on the left, and then just enter through the gate to the building, which isn't blocked because we're at the front part of the forecourt.
Okay, and on the picture that I can see, because it's Google Maps, there's some sort of roadworks in the middle of the road there. So so basically that tree is not on the public highway, or is it? Is the just in front of it? So it's
the tree's inside our gate, which is why on the left we've only got one gate, because you can see the tree roots have grown up. So that is a fixed piece of fence that the tree is in. So that's on the inside of the property. So we'd be inside to the right of the tree as you look at it, and access would be to the left of the tree as you look at it.
Okay, thank you. And then also, how many staff are you planning on having there? And are they all trained in, you know, Challenge 25, Challenge 21 procedures?
So and we always, oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. And will you have any security? It's just, who are your staff?
Yeah, so my one of my daughters is there because one's out reveling. So one of my daughters that has a lot of training in some of her security badges and stuff like that, she's there on the premises. My brother is usually there. We've got friends and family who sit in the front garden. So there's a lot of people on hand. There's a lot of people who are staff that wouldn't necessarily know their staff, you know, in terms of security, but there's a large group of us usually that would be in the garden. I'd say up to about sort of 15-20 people, and of those 15-20 people, maybe 4 of them would be children.
Okay, thank you. And just one last thing, if this was sort of a real congestion and it was very busy, would you shut down service? Would you stop serving?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Because when we did have a busy sound across the road, I said before, when Radio 1 was there, we did that on a number of times because it just doesn't help to have, you know, you can have crowd surges back then when Radio 1 used to be there. I haven't seen anything like that, but we'd close down the bar at any time when anything looked a bit, you know, I think somebody set on fire once a chef's hat. We just shut down the bar. Another time it was a gazebo that somebody had, like a jerk chicken stall, that set on fire. We just shut down the bar. Because it's at the house, it's easy to just shut everything down. We close our fridge. Nobody can get anything from the outside. It takes like less than a minute to just stop serving.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. I think that's all the questions from me.
Oh, sorry. One other time we shut down because a young boy had passed out outside and we had to call like the ambulance and everything. So we took him out to the back of the property and we were shut down while that was going on, waiting for the emergency services to come and get him. So for whatever reason, even if I haven't mentioned it in there, if there's a reason to shut down, we just shut down. I mean, the bar is, half of it is kind of like a nice way to see carnival, but the other thing is it's about kind of just protecting the front of your property from carnage, literally carnage. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Now, any questions from our legal advisor?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam, can I just ask, in relation to the council's statement of licensing policy, are you aware of paragraphs 25 and 4 and 25.5 in relation to furnishing a risk assessment and an event management plan?
Is that for me?
Yes.
Yes. So yes, I am. And I've always, once before, I used to do it as a separate document, but then the police officer that did this job before, whose name escapes me now, I think it was Ian, he said that my application was so in depth that he considered the risk assessment was in the application, in the body of the application of what I'd written. So I've just kind of left it like that. But if that needs to be submitted as a separate document again, I'm happy to do that. But in the past, when I'd spoken to him and sort of asked him, he said, look, your risk assessment's in there, because he said the application was extremely thorough.
Right. I think it's usual practice, because they are standalone documents, for them to be separate documents. But thank you very much indeed for the clarification.
Yeah. I'm happy to do that separately if need be.
That's it, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Next, any questions from the police?
No questions.
Okay, and then, oh, sorry, did someone say something?
That was a no, sorry.
Oh. I was rushing away. And then any questions from environmental health?
No questions from me, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Now for the police objection. Mr. Ranking, can you present your submission? You have up to 10 minutes to do so.
Thank you, Chair. Elizabeth puts it very attractively, and my sympathies lie with her, and you can see why. She says, well, look, in the past, we've done this and we haven't had a problem. There is a change that has come over the carnival. It's gradual, but we've seen it happen. And the concerns of Sir Mark Rowley, the Commissioner, are more pronounced this year. There is a genuine and realistic fear that there would be some event which would cause mass casualties. Anything that we can do in order to lessen that risk is a good thing. Now, we've applied our minds, as we do to all of these applications, applications, and we've looked at a number of factors, and that has influenced our decision about whether we object to the temporary events notice or not. And I accept entirely that Cambridge Gardens at some stages during the carnival will be quiet. But there are other stages when it is extremely busy. Now, this application should not present the committee with too much difficulty. I say it for this reason, that the committee has already addressed itself, all right, differently comprised, but there have been recently 2 temporary events notice applications for Cambridge Gardens. The first was heard and determined on the 22nd of July for number 30 Cambridge Gardens, same side of the road as Elizabeth and a few doors down. And then opposite, there was an application for number 33, application heard on the 5th of August. Both of those had counter notices issued by the licensing subcommittee. And we ask you please to do exactly the same for Cambridge Gardens and Elizabeth. Now, we, as I say, don't object to every single application. And it's been noted in the previous application that to date, there have been 49 applications for temporary events notices, which we have not put any objection to. And Cambridge Gardens, if you are able, please, to pull up page 39. And stopping there, you'll see, you'll see the application site is the blue square at number 12. Immediately opposite and diagonally across the road is what I've described as an area that looks like an amoeba. It's a that is Portobello Green. That's a tented area that Elizabeth was talking about. Now that is run by the Westway Trust, who in cooperation with Notting Hill Carnival Limited have applied for a temporary events notice, and it's been granted. So it's an example of where a temporary events notice can safely be granted in Cambridge Gardens, but under very strict circumstances. So, for example, there has been a cordoning off, or will be a cordoning off of that area. There are certificated and licensed SIA in charge of that. There's been an extensive risk assessment which has been submitted, and it is set back from Cambridge Gardens. And that was regarded by the police as an area which could be suitable for a temporary events notice. Serving it from your front forecourt in cans and plastic cups and punches is not, we would suggest, suitable. And I say it for a number of reasons, and the factors that we've taken into account are crowd density, which we know can be extreme. I know what Elizabeth says about the age of the photographs. Look back, please, on your own carnival experience, and I'm sure Councillor Benton will help us. But at times it's quiet, and at other times it's really busy. And I note that Elizabeth says, well, if it's really busy, then we will shut down our operation. But the point is this, that we have her word for it. And what we want to do is to make this a proper and safe carnival. We want to do everything in our power, even if it's a small contribution, to ensure that there is nothing that impedes the flow of pedestrians along Cambridge Gardens. If you grant this temporary events notice, it's granted for the entirety of the days and hours that Elizabeth has sought. We have extra challenges for Cambridge Gardens because of its proximity to Ladbroke Grove, and because historically we note that within the area generally there has been an incidence of crime and disorder, which causes us concern. Now, I can't say X number of offences took place on Cambridge Gardens, but I can say this, that please do not grant a temporary events notice in circumstances where there is a very real risk that you would impede the flow of pedestrians up and down there. The other two concerns relate to the proximity to sound systems. You've got the Lord Gelly, which is just down the road, and then you've got obviously the sound system with Portobello Green. So in summary then, it's too close to the parade route. It's a major thoroughfare, and it's in a location which we say has already been the subject of scrutiny by a different licensing subcommittee who've concluded that a counter notice should be issued. The submissions that I made on your paragraph 2511 remain. We are the principal sources of intelligence on crime and disorder. Ours is a voice we would suggest that should be listened to. We've got 150 years of combined carnival experience. When you've got experienced officers saying, please do not grant, please issue a counter notice, and that is a voice which is raised loud and should be listened to. Those are my submissions.
Okay, thank you. Now, any questions from the committee? Councillor Lucy Knight?
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Toby Benton, any questions?
I have a couple. I have a slightly lighter question just to begin with. I'm just not quite. You've mentioned a few times, Mr. Rankin, in previous hearings, 150 combined years. Who are we talking about? The combined years of experience on Carnival? Yes, sorry, Mr. Rankin. Yes, 150 years of combined, presumably between three organisations, because it's been going just over.
No. I'm talking about the police officers in the room that sit down, analyse. So
okay, I thought I misheard the first time. I just wanted to double check. I knew it was something like that. So I just wanted to make sure.
You've got 5 officers with 150 years experience.
Okay, understood. Okay, thank you. And you know, at the risk of possibly going over ground we do go over in these 10s, and as you say, we've looked at Cambridge Gardens before. I will. Well, actually, I suppose there are a couple of things around the Portobello Green and the area in between, between Thorpe Close. If there are events there, as has been mentioned, and this you would know this, well, the police would know this, and I don't. Are they not typically fenced off? Was sort of restricting access from that side. You can only get into the park from the Thorpe Close side. So I'm not quite clear. I feel that would potentially mitigate crowd issues. I know that's not the crux of your argument, but I'm trying to. But it does sort of inform it to a degree. Is there going to be fencing along that side, along the sort of north side of the park?
Yes, it's my fault for not explaining it. But when I said that Portobello Green is cordoned off, it's precisely that. It's cordoned off. It's set back from Cambridge Gardens. Elizabeth couldn't do the same with her forecourt because she couldn't, for example, put barriers on the pavement. She wouldn't be able to do that. It would cause us real concerns if she did.
And there was also sort of the footfall coming from the park, because the park is open, but is it not restricted access in and out just via the south side and the Thorpe Close side? You might, I mean, you might need to, confer, but I'm not sure. And whether or not it's decisive is not what I'm saying. I'm wondering, because I think that sometimes it has been fenced off completely, and sometimes it hasn't been. And if we know what's happening this year, that's possibly informed.
Donna, help us.
Yeah, I believe it's not going to be. So there is going to be a flow of people, but of course the other issue is that Portobello Road in itself, as you probably can appreciate, is very, very packed at the top end as well. So that is another reason why we're so concerned.
Yeah, no, understood. And again, this is partly, we have covered Cambridge Gardens before, but I do feel that certainly our job is to just make sure that every case has the questions answered and it's all a matter of record and all of that. And I do, want to approach this in such a way. So I will say, and forgive me for asking the same thing. My instinct when I hear an authority says this is I want to see the study and I want to see the methodology behind it and I want to see the actual numbers, because my experience has been they can be interpreted. I'm not saying they're misinterpreted. I'm not saying anything like that. It's a transparency issue for me. Is there a chance we could see something like that?
Yeah. So just from what you mentioned earlier, we do consider, as I say, the crowd density. Now, I don't have, as Mr. Rankin's already said, I don't have the figures, the exact figures of how many people are in Portobello Road. But what I can tell you is when we do consider each application on its own merits, we do look at a whole range of things, the area, what the applicant's requesting. We use provide that because that's a strategic thing, but we do use that where it shows crowd density. Now, we are concerned at the top end of Portobello Road, and also at the other end, we have got Ladbroke Grove, which is where the actual route is for Carnival. Sorry, I think somebody wants to.
I think Mr. Richardson has his hand up, but it's
it can wait. It's just to clarify a point from before. I'll wait till Donna's finished. Sorry.
I think that's it.
Okay. No, thank you very much.
So Philip, do you want to clarify?
Yeah, it was just to clarify a point with regard to the fencing around Portobello Green. I've just checked their event management plan for that temporary event notice, and the full green will be fenced all the way around with entrance and exit on Thorpe Close only. It's going to be fully fenced all the way around with Harris fencing.
That's probably a good idea. Thank you.
Any more questions, or Toby? Or that's it?
No, thank you, Chair. It's me.
Okay. So I have just one, I think. So obviously, Elizabeth has been doing her thing for like 12 years or so, many years. Does that not show any sort of, I don't know, the fact that she is able to run her venture well, or some, does that, because obviously I'm sure if there had been any issues, you would have highlighted that in your submission. So does that not give any, I don't know, satisfaction or kind of ease any concerns, because she's obviously capable, she's been doing it for many years? Is it now just because the police are concerned because they're changing the rules, or is it more than that? Because I really want to because she sounds like a real competent operator, and there's no evidence to show that there was an issue or crushing or crime or anything in particularly in that area. I'm not saying there wasn't, I just haven't seen it. So is there any way you can sort of appease these concerns for me?
Evidence of past behaviour is helpful, but it is no guarantee of future behaviour. It is no guarantee that because nothing's happened in the past, that nothing will happen in the future. We're all painfully aware of the fact that the carnival has become larger and larger, and there are fewer and fewer police officers there to police it. And if there is, for example, a pinch point created in Cambridge Gardens, as we envisage, is a real likelihood. The ability of police officers to respond, say, for example, there's a stabbing, the ability of police officers to respond to that. I'm not suggesting that Elizabeth would be responsible for it, but she would be responsible for creating a crowd pinch point, and for police officers to respond immediately to events such as that becomes compromised. So yes, absolutely. It's impressive that Elizabeth has operated her premises so well in the past, but we're looking at a changing dynamic of the carnival, where we have fewer staff, fewer police officers, fewer stewards, and an increase year on year in capacity.
Okay, thank you. Lucy, Councillor Lucy Knight, you've raised your hand.
I just wanted to add a point, and sorry if I'm partially repeating Laura's point. I live about 30 seconds away from Elizabeth, and I would say one of the things that I think gives, don't know if this is a question or just a statement, is there no reassurance in having people like Elizabeth who essentially know the community, are on the streets, are, as Elizabeth told in some of her stories, often looking after people. To me, I question, surely we should be championing having people like that with shops, so we have eyes on the ground. This is the only thing I have trouble with, what is being raised.
That Carnival in the past has been a happy, jolly event when it was smaller and when there were police officers and stewards there to police it. It's become a less jolly event. It's become an event which has become increasingly difficult to police. And yes, of course, Elizabeth will know members of the community, but there are 2 million people attending this from all over the world. The happy, jolly circumstances of the past, where everybody knew everybody else and all the neighbours knew each other, that I'm afraid is a changed face.
That's not what I'm trying to imply. I'm trying to imply that I think having people who we know have operated in the past, who have never had any issues, who have dealt with significant issues before on the ground, as well as police and as well as members of the council, is a positive thing in running our shops. I'm just trying to make a statement. Is that not, to the police, does that not put them at ease and give them some reassurance in some of potentially these tens, as you have those people on streets?
I've conceded that the fact that she has run these events in the past gives us some comfort. It does not answer our concerns, though, because our concerns, which relate to the overarching safety of people at these events, it is, I'm afraid, a concern that eclipses the experience that Elizabeth has with running event-free carnivals in the past.
Okay.
Could you not say, though, that by having an operator such as Elizabeth could have actually prevented some things previously? We have to talk previously because that's what's happened. And although we're assuming we're going to have 2 million people and it's beyond anyone's control, this year it will be the first year, that it may or may not exceed the 2 million. And you have I really am struggling with this one because of so many years. We've had, yes, obviously, like I said earlier or previously, we've had issues, and if there was like crime hotspots, maybe even in and around that specific area, we might be able to have more evidence that would really be helpful. But I mean, for future reference, Elizabeth, this is probably more directed to you. I think it would be helpful if you liaise with Notting Hill Carnival Limited, because then you would have more support, I guess, from the bodies and including the police, because they would be aware and be. Is this right, James? That if she was sort of involved with the Carnival Limited, Notting Hill Carnival Limited, it would be more likely that she would be able to operate with that for future reference. This is not now, for future times. What do you think?
Yes, there's no doubt that next year you will see evidence produced by the police, which is rather more comprehensive. And we will drill down, as identified by the committee, on precise figures and hotspots and so on. Next year, we can identify perhaps with a map those areas that we consider are areas that are suitable, for example, for the grant of a temporary events notice, and those that aren't. At the moment, I don't have such a map. All I've got is the evidence of experienced police officers saying, do not please issue a temporary events notice, issue the counter notice. If they liaise with Notting Hill Carnival and Notting Hill Carnival assist them in some form of comprehensive risk assessment and so on, then that would go a long way to assuaging our concerns. We place great reliance on the expertise of Notting Hill Carnival Limited. So yes, for future reference, yes, please.
Okay.
But as I say, this should not cause the committee too much difficulty in view of the 2 recent refusals.
Okay, Elizabeth, you have your hand up. You will get a chance to ask questions, but if it's directly relating to what we've just said, then please go ahead.
Well, it was about the 2 refusals actually, because they are in thick of the crowd of Lord Gelly. They're a completely different kettle of fish to me. And the other thing is I actually can set myself back from the street if there's a concern about a pinch point, because the 2 gates that I currently push my table up against, they can be opened. I can have a barrier inside so people can step inside. So I actually can set back from the street. And the last thing I was thinking is that an event going on under the tent is astounding to me, because Radio 1 was moved from there because there tended to be a lot of deaths and crowd crush when there was something under the tent. And since then, it's been kept empty as the kind of backs of stalls. And I think once again, they did use it. And again, that being at the exact junction of Cambridge Gardens and Portobello Road is far more concerning than my little bar, you know, across the road, because that is a major sort of thoroughfare. I'm just someone that people pass by. So yeah, but the other 2 submissions, they're in no way the same as my property when you look at the crowd that's there at Carnival, because I'm by the food stalls there in the sound system, really.
This, as councillor who appeared in both of those applications, there is no difference between those applications and Elizabeth's application. Both of those were set back from the street in the limited way that Elizabeth identifies. The only difference is that they were a few yards closer to the Lord Gelly.
Well, significantly closer. They're actually in the crowd of Lord Gelly, and I'm not in the crowd of Lord Gelly. So when you look at the pictures that are in there, you can see behind Lord Gelly, there's cars parked and then there's water for the food stalls. So those are quite in the thick of it, and I'm not. So quite a different kettle of fish.
Yes,
okay.
There's a lot, and we all know this, there's a lot of through traffic from pedestrians going from Ladbroke Grove to Portobello Road and Portobello Road to Ladbroke Grove. It's not possible just to look at this in isolation. There's a sound system and a crowd of people there. The through traffic of pedestrians consistent throughout the carnival.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's just that we could go back and forth all day on this. So, Donna, you did have your hand up. Did you finish with that point?
I really just. Sorry, Madam Chair, I just really wanted to highlight to you really that for us, it is about the prevention of crime and disorder and public safety. And there has been this massive, massive publicity. It's been, you know, I think so many people have got to see it, that we are so concerned about the crushing and the public safety, that, you know, the pinch points, etc. So I really just wanted to re-emphasise that point. We accept, as Mr. Rankin has said, that, you know, the applicant has had this for many, many years, but ultimately we're asking everybody now to actually take it on board what we're asking. We've touched on Notting Hill Carnival Limited. We know that the applicant didn't go through Notting Hill Carnival Limited. Maybe that she didn't know that that's what she was supposed to do. But I think moving forward, it needs to be a lot more streamlined in order to make sure that this is a successful event. So that's really all I wanted to say.
Okay, thank you. All right, do we have any questions from our legal advisor?
Thank you, Madam Chair. No questions.
Any questions from the premises user? Now, Elizabeth, any further questions?
Yes, I did have one, but it just sort of slipped me. Oh, yes, sorry, it was the Notting Hill Carnival Limited. Yeah, there was at no point during the application, or did I see anything that should suggest that? Because I would have been happy to go through another organisation. I think one of the things I would say is that the reason you might see a rise in the tens around me is because I've recommended that other people do that as opposed to selling alcohol illegally. It's regulated at the moment and you can control it. And I think that unwittingly you might be creating a scenario that creates more danger by thinking that we're creating a problem, because we're going to be there anyway selling, soft drinks or whatever. It's not the alcohol that makes the difference. The stalls will still be there, if you see what I mean. That's just my 2 cents.
Okay, thank you. Now, for environmental health's objection, Mr. Richardson, can you please present your submission? You have up to 10 minutes to do so.
Hi there, thanks, Chair. I won't cover too much of what's already been said by Mr. Rankin and by Donna in relation to the safety issues and things like that. And obviously, you've read the objection put in by Mr. Trill. Just raise another couple of points in that there's not only just the event in the Portobello Green, just over the other side of the road in Portobello Road. I can't think of a way of describing it, but in the sort of West Strait Trust land there was a number of event things taking place in there as well. So it's not just the Portobello Green, it is the other side of Portobello Road. I'm not sure how the best way to describe what that area of land's called. Nearby,
next to Acklam Road, you mean?
Acklam Village sort of thing, yeah.
Yeah, Acklam Village.
Yeah, Acklam Village. There is a number of things taking place in there. There's stalls and people selling alcohol and food vendors and things, which have all been under a 10 as well. So it's not just Portobello Green. There's the other area as well. And also a bit that hasn't been touched on yet is that in relation to street trading. I don't believe there is a street trading license here to be able to permit the sales onto the highway. And I don't know whether the applicant has got a street trading license or has applied for a street trading license or anything like that. That's just another point I wanted to raise. And then, like I said, I won't cover what Mr. Rankin's already said because our issues are the same. There's no point repeating what he said. I'll just leave it at that and ask for any questions.
Okay, thank you. Now, any questions from the committee? Councillor Lucy Knight?
No questions for me.
Okay, thank you. And then also Councillor Toby Benton.
The quick version, as before, is there anything that the applicant could reasonably be imagined or expected to do that would allay your concerns and have you remove your objection?
I think based on the location of where it is and how busy that area can be and is a lot of the time, I don't think there is much that could be done. I don't think. No, I don't think it would be. I think it's just the location is just too busy for that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I don't have any questions. Any questions from our legal advisor?
Thank you, Madam Chair. There are no questions.
Okay, and then any questions from our premises users, Elizabeth?
No, there's no questions.
Okay, thank you. At this stage, I'd like to ask our legal advisor to deal with any further queries that he may have. Basically, yeah. Any queries?
All the points have been covered, Madam Chair. Thank you.
And do our licensing officers have anything to add?
No, thank you, Chair.
Okay, and our governance officers, have you got anything to add?
Nothing to add, Chair.
Okay, thank you, everyone. So we have reached the end of this meeting. The committee has now all the information needed and we will retire to make our decision in private session. We will reconvene in 10 minutes to verbally announce our decision. Thank you so much. So yeah, we'll be back here in 10. Thank you, everybody. Hello, everyone. Is everyone?
Hiya.
Okay. So is everyone else ready in here? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I confirm I'm now reconvening the meeting. So the committee have considered objections from the police and environmental health to the temporary event notice, which has been given by Miss Elizabeth IT, premises user, for the sale by retail of alcohol on and off the premises at the above premises, which is flat 112 Cambridge Gardens, London, W10 5UB, on Sunday the 24th of August 2025 from 12 till 19, and Monday 25th of August 2025 from 12 to 1900, for a maximum number of, well, it says 499 people, but I think we said it was like 15 or something. You said something, you said less. Anyway, the committee has considered the committee papers and submissions made by the parties, both orally and in writing. In reaching its decision, the committee has had regard to the relevant legislation, the Secretary of State's guidance, and the authority's statement of licensing policy. In summary, the committee decided, after taking into account all the individual circumstances of the case and the prevention of crime and disorder, prevention of public nuisance and public safety licensing objectives, not to issue a counter notice under Section 5 of the Licensing Act 2003 for the event. This means the event can proceed on the dates and times specified for the licensable activities specified in the 10. A copy of the reasoned decision will be provided without undue delay. If the premises user, police, environmental health would like to appeal against the decision, such appeal must be made to Magistrates Court within 21 days from the date of notification of the full decision, by in any event no later than 5 working days before the start of the proposed temporary event. That is the decision. Just as a note, could I also say, we've said it throughout the thing, but it would be great to have more evidence from the police. So for future reference, I don't know if you guys can take that away. That would be amazing. So we have like hotspots of crime places, and so we can actually get a real rounded picture. And then also for the applicants as well, for future reference, it might be better or safer or easier for you if you work with Notting Hill Carnival Limited, because they are working throughout this for like a year in advance with the police. And obviously we want everyone to be, doing the best they can and working together as a community with the police to get the best out of Carnival. That's exactly what we want. So that's just a side note at the end. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a good day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.